Dudes. What's up guys, Max here, and I wanted to make another video follow-up to a question that I see so frequently on the channel ever since the Killer Instinct trailers and all the coverage I've done for it has shown up. Why the hell is there so much Killer Instinct? It's a good question, and it deserves an answer. So for a lot of you guys that might not know or hang on to the channel kind of casually or are recent to the channel, I cover fighting games for the most part. The majority, 90% of the coverage on this channel is focusing around fighting games and the fighting games that I really like. I try to do my best to cover everything at least a little bit, but when it really comes to certain games that catch my eye, get me really excited, and I feel the hype, I can't help but make videos about them. Like, quite literally, Killer Instinct got me so freaking excited. From the trailer, to skeptical, to going batshit crazy that I gotta play more of the game since E3, that I really feel the need to make videos about all the time that I put into playing the game at E3. And oh my gosh, I spent so much time talking to people that this kind of alleviates my need for hype a little bit until the game at least comes out in another form that I can play, like at EVO this year. So there's gonna be a bit of Killer Instinct stuff on this channel, and I freaking love Killer Instinct. Like, quite literally, it's one of those games growing up as a kid that I played so much. It's like attached to me. The music, the characters, the way the game feels. I really like it. So much that I should probably show you why I like it so much and how much I did like it by showing off my Killer Instinct collection. Now this is gonna be some hardcore fandom. A lot of Killer Instinct bullshit and stuff that I've been collecting over the past freaking almost 18 years the game has been out. I don't actually have any of the original memorabilia that I had a long time ago, but ever since I've been collecting a lot of Killer Instinct stuff and a lot of stuff that I have not had the chance to get. So let me start off and start showing you guys what I have Killer Instinct wise right up with this. The first Killer Instinct 2013 t-shirt that was given out by Double Helix Games. I got this by somehow defeating one of the creators of Killer Instinct, Ken Lobb, on stage at the Mad Catz booth this year at E3. That was an amazing experience, and even meeting the people, and especially Ken, that designed the original game and designed the combo system, pretty freaking awesome, especially knowing that, man, when I was like 11 years old, you guys were coming up with this stuff and you were talking to the Mortal Kombat dudes, and it's pretty cool. So I got this, I'm pretty happy about it. Now let's move on to some of the more crazy rare stuff. Ha, rare stuff, that wasn't supposed to be a pun. This is a Killer Instinct t-shirt from E3 1995. I think I showed this off before, but I did not know what was inside this t-shirt, but until after E3, Ken saw the video that I was making this question, like, I don't know what's on this shirt, and he told me it's actually the cover art. It's the Super Nintendo cover art, because he remembers back at that E3 back in 1995, I was like, oh my god, thank you, that means I don't have to open it up. It's not something crazy unique that I've never seen before, it's just a really tightly compacted t-shirt that they probably threw at people and knocked a couple guys out, because this thing is pretty heavy. But also missed out from E3, which does kind of suck. E3 way back in the day, back in 1995, is that there were these Killer Instinct black leather jackets that had the Rare logo on the front, I believe, or the KI logo on the front, and a giant Killer Instinct logo on the back. I've been looking for one of those jackets for about 7 years, ever since I found out that they actually existed. And I talked to a couple of guys at E3 that had the same thing, where they were looking for them a long time. And I think the last one was on eBay and it went for $750. I will not be parting with that much cash for a Killer Instinct jacket, but I will be looking for one because I just want to see what one of them looks like in real person. It's like one of those gaming memorabilia legendary items that I have never seen before, but Ken told me I still have that jacket and a rare, especially rare denim Killer Instinct jacket back from the 90s. That would make sense that there's a denim Killer Instinct jacket. So moving along. Next up is one that's pretty important to myself because it was my first music CD that I have ever owned. Killer Cuts, which came free with the SNES version of Killer Instinct. And I listened to this stuff religiously, so much the fact that back in the day, I had a junior high dance, and I submitted this CD for a song request to be at the junior high dance, and I'm pretty sure it was, let's do it now. It was number 6, which is Jago's theme. It's fun. All the music in the CD is a blast to listen to. If you guys have not ever heard Killer Cuts, you can probably look it up on YouTube. They're still available on eBay. I actually got this unopened copy on eBay for less than $15, I think, so check it out. It is 1990s badassery in its most pure form. And to accompany the CD, of course, I have Killer Instinct the game. This is the SNES version of it. I just realized most of my Killer Instinct memorabilia is from KI1 and not as much KI2. Even though I like KI2, the first game sticks with me a lot more. And something you might notice about this is that this is actually an unopened copy of Killer Instinct for the SNES, with very little damage on the side. There's like a bump on this side. I got this not that long ago, probably about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. But it was a pretty good deal on eBay, and I was like, I want that really bad. These can get pretty expensive. I see them going on eBay now for upwards of like $150 to $300. So Killer Instinct has definitely gained in popularity ever since the freaking new game was announced. And the fact that this is unopened leaves its destiny in my hands. And that destiny is to once again meet Ken Lobb at EVO this year and maybe get him to sign this copy of the game and I could freaking frame it. Next up is another piece of E3 memorabilia that I didn't know about till that long ago. I think I actually got this earlier this year, and this is a Killer Instinct, kind of like a Disney pin. This was given out to select people at E3 1995. You can find them on eBay for less than 30 bucks. I think I got this one for like 15, maybe $18. And it's not a bad pin. It's kind of heavy duty. I have not had a chance to wear it at all. Looks kind of freaking cool. If I go to Disneyland, I'll wear this instead of all the Disney pins. And this is probably something that a lot of you guys that are around my age, like 20 to 25 to 30 years old, remember. Holy crap, this guide was one of the most proficient guides of Killer Instinct and the Super Nintendo games back in the mid-90s. Because I think if you got the game, you can get the guide for free from Nintendo Power, and they sent you one. I actually ended up getting a pretty good copy because holy crap, my original KI guide was busted. It was just wrecked because I used it so much and I made notes in it when I was like a 12-year-old kid. But you go and look through this guide, and you're gonna shockingly find that it's got some pretty awesome artwork, and it's actually designed really well. So I found a pretty good copy of the guide a while ago, actually. I think I've had this in storage for it's been a while, but it's a good one. It's a nice little piece of souvenir to a game that I go back and I look at now, and it's just like, I read this so many years ago, and I just nostalgia bomb every time I look at it. Here's something I picked up actually after Killer Instinct was announced, and it's the first, I believe the first issue of Nintendo Power where Killer Instinct was announced. This is pretty freaking awesome. I have not even had the chance to open it yet, but I almost bought it just because the cover art looked freaking cool. Now, Killer Instinct, especially Nintendo Power books, can get kind of expensive, but this one's like issue 70 or something, yeah, 76. So it wasn't that much. It was like literally $3 plus shipping. It wasn't too much. I think I'm just gonna keep this one. I'm gonna stick it on the wall sometime in like my Killer Instinct corner. I should probably make one of those. And here's something freaking weird. Cracked, you know, like kind of like Mad Magazine, the alternative to Mad Magazine, actually had a Killer Instinct issue back in the 90s because the game was so big in arcades. So many people were playing it that they literally made comic strips out of Killer Instinct, the video game. I opened this up because it was just out of like morbid curiosity. I found this at like a Frankensons, which deals in comics and a bunch of other stuff. And I picked it up, I was just like, holy crap, and they're literally making fun of how like Fulgore looks like the Predator, how Spinal is from Jason and the Argonauts, how, you know, Orchid is generic Asian chick. It's really funny how they make fun of the character archetypes because that's literally what they are. This one's weird though. This is probably the weirdest piece of Killer Instinct memorabilia I even have. Now here's what I'm pretty proud of, and I've actually had these for quite a long time because back in the 90s I collected comics like a motherfucker with my dad, and oh my gosh, between Dark Horse to Image Comics to some Marvel stuff with the X-Men, I was really into comics back in the 90s, and it was kind of like this huge explosion of comic books. So of course they would make Killer Instinct freaking comics. This was really bizarre to me even as a kid because I didn't discover these until after I was really done playing KI, like in the late 90s. I think I picked these up at a comic book shop, yeah, around like 1999 when the Dreamcast was coming out, and I was just morbid curiosity by, oh my god, they actually made a Killer Instinct comic, what the hell is it about? There's some weird stuff in these comics too, like I think in one issue, some of the story arcs that they present are Fulgore is actually Chief Thunder's freaking brother? Like, I remember looking at that and I was like, I don't even, what? It's like they completely screw with the story kind of. I think Killer Instinct 2 takes place in like, geez, like 3,000 years earlier than the original Killer Instinct, but I suck at the story of that game. I don't understand it very well, but what I do like are the cover art to all of these games, and I think I'm actually going to put these into like some sort of special case or frame, and frame them on the wall sometime, because I really like the way the old retro CG style they had that Rare almost patented back in the days of classic 90s gaming. And last but not least, my creme de la creme. What the hell is it? There it is! My Killer Instinct t-shirt from God knows how long ago. I'm pretty sure this is not actually what is on this thing. I'm pretty sure this is the cover art. This is a unique shirt that I don't even know where the hell this came from. Like literally, it's just It's got cover artwork to it that this actually is a 6-foot stand. Back in the day in '95, Blockbuster had this huge exclusive thing with Killer Instinct 1, and they were releasing the game at their, I think at Blockbuster stores early, so Blockbuster from Nintendo got these literal 6-foot tall Fulgore stands, and as a kid I was just like, I remember just staring at this thing because it was so freaking awesome. They had a TV right next to it just showing footage of the game. Blowing my face, just oh my, I want to play it. And I've actually seen one of these stands in person, and I saw one on eBay maybe about a year ago. Dude was trying to sell it for $300 and it was not in that good of condition. I found one at Game Dude in Los Angeles County. This dude has one in the back of his giant video game store that's been there forever. And in this game store he's got a ton of different stands from all the days back then. And in the very back right of Game Dude, if you guys have a chance, go check it out. He's got the 6-foot tall Fulgore stand. It's freaking gigantic. It's even as tall as me right now. I wanted it really bad. I asked him if he'd sell it and he's like, dude, no way. That thing is amazing and I love Killer Instinct. So I can respect that. He totally deserves it. Next up is actually this is a piece of Marquee Art. Back when Killer Instinct and arcade games back in the day came out, they had flyers that they would give to the distributors and they would hand out to people to get people excited about a new game coming up. And this was the one for Killer Instinct 2. Got this actually as a present from a friend, and it's in mint freaking condition. I really should do something about this. This is the original flyer back in 1995. See if we can get a date on this sucker. Yep, 1995 when KI2 came out in the arcades, man. There was not that much time between the first game and the second game. Let me just read you an excerpt from this hype-inducing flyer. KI2 has turned up the intensity, evolving into the most dangerous fighting game ever. Packed with deadly new characters, advanced color graphics, and millions of new combos, KI2 will propel Cashbox earnings to a new height. Get that money, son! Pretty freaking cool. I actually have a big poster that goes along with this that is kind of similar to this one, where it's got all the characters' faces like lined up and it says Killer Instinct 2 at the bottom. I'm planning to get that one framed, but that however is in storage and I have no idea where it actually is at the moment, but I do have it. There is a couple of other items that I would love to get my hands on Killer Instinct wise, and if I'm missing anything crazy out of this collection Killer Instinct wise, I think I don't have the tops. Like there was a Killer Instinct like Magic game, like, you know, I never played like Magic style games, like card games, like tabletop games, but there was one for Killer Instinct back in the day. I discovered that not too long ago and I was like, who the hell played that? Obviously nobody did, but they're available. You can still buy them now, and I definitely don't have that. There's the Killer Instinct jacket, which I have already kind of settled with myself that I'm never going to be able to get one of those KI jackets. And there's also the Killer Instinct arcade machine. Now, I've been collecting arcade machines over the past year and a half, almost 2 years now, but what I've been doing is finding good deals on them and fixing them up because they're in not so good condition. However, KI is a game that's understood by a lot of people that grew up around the same time I did with the Super Nintendo and the arcade era back in the day. A lot of people collect Killer Instinct machines. Like, you'll just find dudes that I just have a KI machine because KI is freaking awesome. I just have a KI 1 and 2 machine just because they're freaking awesome. There's a lot of guys like that, especially on YouTube, that just fix these machines up to as best as they possibly can. That's what I would like to do as well, but they are hard to come by, especially in halfway decent condition. I'd have to fix up all the artwork and get everything ready to go and things like that. And the Killer Instinct arcade board and hard drive can be kind of expensive nowadays, even still. So the demand for that game, at least the arcade version, is still pretty freaking high because there was never a completely arcade perfect version. The N64 version of KI2 was really nothing similar to the arcade version of KI2, and of course KI1 compared to the SNES version was leaps and bounds different. It was like watching 1920s film to like a 1990s like sci-fi movie. It is a huge difference. But I've acknowledged that I'm going to look for that stuff. If I come across a good deal, I might eventually be able to get it and add to my ever-growing Killer Instinct library of bullshit. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up. I wanted to make something just explaining myself why there's a bunch of Killer Instinct videos. Maybe you'll understand a little bit of where I'm coming from now, why I'm so excited for this game, and why it's so deeply rooted into myself as a kid. And I'm going to be covering as much of the new KI and going to as many places as it's playable as I possibly can. My name is Max, and thank you guys very much for watching. I'm not even getting paid for this.